Matthew Tkachuk, thanks, man. Really appreciate you showing some love to your hometown team.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen.
Subscribe to Lock On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and happy Friday, February 7th, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, we're going to talk about that loss to the Florida Panthers last night. We do have Chicago tomorrow, and then finally, my favorite Friday segment, Are We Feeling Blue? Where I ask you, St. Louis, was this a good week or was this a bad week for the St. Louis Blues? And then we discuss it the following week. So we have a lot to get to on today's episode. And I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Heading into last night's contest, I specifically told you that Matthew Tkachuk was going to be a problem. Not only did I tell you that Matthew Tkachuk was going to be a problem, I told you, and no one believed me, that Sam Reinhart was going to be a problem as well. But it was a really Matthew Tkachuk-based game, if that makes sense. Listen, I am a huge Matthew Tkachuk fan just when he's not playing us because he is that good of a player to where I get nervous, right? Whenever I see him with the puck, I just know that there's always a possibility of it going in the net. And last night, well, that happened twice. And here's the thing. I think one day down the line, maybe not Brady, but I think Matthew, he might end up playing for the Blues. I do believe that. I know it was rumored a couple years ago before he was with the Panthers, but I do think that's a real possibility. When he is finally wearing the blue note as one of us, I will be ecstatic, okay? And I think that it will be great. I think he's going to help the team out, even though he'll be older. But right now, he is hurting us, okay? The Blues almost went to overtime last night. So close. I thought to myself, I'm like, oh my goodness, my prediction on the podcast of, well, maybe the Blues can hold them out until overtime could actually happen. I was excited. I was like, this is awesome. They're going to get a point at least. And Matthew Tkachuk happened. And he scored with, it wasn't like he scored with a couple of minutes left. No, Matthew Tkachuk scored with 12 seconds left of the game. And that basically sums up what being a Blues fan is like. We can't just have nice things. You know, it's a tied game. It's 2-2. Periods winding down. You're thinking to yourself, hell, we're going to get some extra minutes of hockey. No. Matthew Tkachuk made sure that did not happen. And I am so frustrated because I personally would have loved for the Blues to take this team to overtime. And it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like the hockey gods are always against us, but it's also maybe because they do have Matthew Tkachuk and Chucky is good. I mean, we all know how good Keith Tkachuk was, Matthew Tkachuk. And I mean, I know, listen, people are going to always talk about the Tkachuks, like, oh, who's better, Brady or Matthew? I've always personally liked Matthew Tkachuk better. I think that he just has kind of everything that you want a hockey player to have. And Brady's a tough player too, and it's nothing like against him in any way. I just personally have always favored Matthew Tkachuk's game. It reminds me a little bit of Brad Marchand, and he's great. I mean, I hate the Bruins, but I mean, as a player, he's great. So, one day maybe he will be here in St. Louis wearing the blue note, even though he is a Blues fan, which is just, it's amazing. But let me talk about the game last night because some good things did happen. So right off the bat, I just want to say every single Ryan Suter hater you're the problem. Because Suits had a nice assist on Zach Bolduc's goal. It was his 6th goal of the season. I know, not great. But he gave the Blues a 1-0 lead, so that was, good. Here we go again. So, Mackie, Samoskevich was able to score and tied up the game 1-1. Sam Bennett with the first assist, and then, of course, the secondary assist went to Matthew Tkachuk. Woo. Then, towards the end of the first period, the Panthers were on a power play, and who scores a power play goal to give the Panthers a 2-1 lead? Matthew Tkachuk. Whoa, shocker. In the second frame, the Blues, this is rare for the Blues, got a power play goal. I couldn't believe it myself. I actually had to rewind the tape and watch it again. I really do love this team. I do. I just sometimes can't believe when they do good things. So I was like rewinding it and I'm like, oh, wow, they really did score in the power play. And it was Oscar Sundqvist who scored with a nice assist from Tomer and then Zach Bolduc. So it was a good game for Bolduc. And then finally, as you know, I told you about that goal with 12 seconds left. Yeah, icky. Panthers win 3-2. But in last night's game, I will say that the Blues, here we go again. They don't have as many shots on goals as the Panthers, but we knew that because we know how the Panthers, they really can outshoot their opponents. So I wasn't surprised about that. I was kind of hoping the Blues would take more chances around the net, but it is what it is. They just have to continue to improve with the rebounding and positioning. But with a player like Matthew Tkachuk, wait, hold on. Interesting. Hold on. I think ESPN is wrong. So I go to ESPN sometimes, right, to look at the box score. And the first thing I just saw when I went to ESPN was Sam Reinhart scores with 11 seconds to go. But that's not true because it was Matthew Tkachuk who got the goal. So yikes, if you're working on ESPN, major yikes on that one. But again, I was not surprised, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the box score because for me, it's always interesting, as I said, for the Blues. And I wasn't surprised, by the way, that Spencer Knight was in net. I did tell you that I think that was going to happen just because of, Bobrovsky is amazing, but why would you play him against the Blues? Joel Hofer last night, he had a good save percentage of 912, and total shots on goal were 34, 3 went in, and his 31 saves, so good for him. Anyways, let's go talk about some time on the ice, right? I love to talk to you about the total time on the ice. Last night for defense, with the player with the most amount of time on the ice, it went to Cam Fowler with 22 minutes, followed by Colton Parayko with 20 minutes and 44 seconds. And then Justin Folk. Suter played 17 minutes. So all the guys on defense actually did play a good amount of time. So good for them. All right. Offense. This is where things get a little bit dicey. So Robert Thomas obviously had the most time on ice, 20 minutes and 42 seconds, followed by Bushi, 20 minutes and 7 seconds. And then we have at 18:32 is Jordan Kyrou. No surprise on that one. Holloway played a good amount, 18:15. Least amount of ice time. It actually goes to, not by a lot, but it does go to Matthew Joseph with 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Birthday boy today, Nathan Walker. The Walks, 11 minutes and 30 seconds, and Tortrenko was 11 and 59. So, yes. No, it's not. Wait, why did I think it was his birthday today? Oh, man. Whose birthday was whatever. I think somebody's birthday was sometime, but I don't know. The admin posted, I swear, maybe I really thought it was someone's birthday. Whatever. Anyways, yeah. So the Blues took the L, but will they bounce back? Well, it's against Chicago, so they should. Will they? Probably not. I mean, this Blues team is such a mess. I mean, I'm not saying the Blackhawks are like any better because they're not. Like they're not. But yeah, no, this is a problem, and it's going to be a problem because I don't see this team improving. But you know what? They played a good game against the defending Cup champs, so it's fine. I'll take it for how it is. Like, it's not great, but it's also essentially it's not what we wanted, right? But it's also not like, oh wow, they lost against a team that wasn't as good. Like they still, played a team that, in my humble opinion, is good. So let's talk a little bit about my friends. I love that I have so many friends, but Game Time is my day one. So looking for tickets for your next big event, whether it's a concert, a comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. Let me tell you about how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of endless ticket listings. I've been using Game Time Picks for quite a while now, honestly, looking for my next WWE event. So I'm going to tell you why I love it, okay? The curated deals makes it super simple to find great tickets at a great price and no more sifting through thousands of options. I recently grabbed a super deal for a prime seat and I could not believe the value. It was a steal. And yes, I'm talking about SmackDown. And the best part is you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The Blues and those Chicago Blackhawks. How do I feel about it? I don't know. It's weird because I know that the Blues are a better team. I do. It's more of the fact of, do I trust that the Blues will play as the better team? And that's where I get nervous. I think that, the Blues, they have the ability. They do. Oh, I think they're wearing their Winter Classic sweater too. Cool. The Blues have, yeah. Hold on. Bum, breaking news. Hold on. And I'll get into the Chicago rant. The admin did post, happy birthday, Nathan Walker. Okay. And then if you go and you search up Nathan Walker NHL birthday, I'm not crazy. Oh. Well, wait, is ESPN wrong? Hold on. ESPN is wrong. Hold on. They said it is, I'm not crazy, April 7th. No, it is February 7th. I know I was not crazy. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. I had to just jump on there. But anyways, Mackenzie McEachern has been assigned, by the way, to Springfield, so he won't be probably playing. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, I really hope this team goes hard. As I said in yesterday's episode, this will be the last game before the Four Nations face-off break. So, yes, the team will be going on a break for a couple weeks, but I'm really except for Jordan Binnington and Parayko, obviously, for Team Canada, but I'm just hoping that this team ends this time. You can't even say drought. You can't even say any of that. They just end this mess is, I guess, a better word to say that they've been in. I mean, I'm happy for the Blues in a sense, right? They did get that win over Utah, right? But then let's go say theoretically, they didn't get that win against the Utah Hockey Club this past weekend. They would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row. Now, they did get that win, so I did break it up. So right now they're on a 2-game losing streak. I I don't know how I feel about it. It's very it's exhausting, and that's why I get nervous for Chicago, because let's have a throwback Thursday for a moment. We saw the Blues with a nice 6-2 win over the Blackhawks during the Winter Classic, and that was great. We saw Cam Fowler in his 1,000th game with multiple goals, so it was a really good game. And then they had a nice win against the Ottawa Senators, a 4-0 win, so that was good. And then they lost to the Blue Jackets 6-4, the Wild 6-4, beat the Ducks 6-2, lost to the Blue Jackets. They just couldn't beat the Blue Jackets. Back-to-back wins against the Calgary Flames, lost to Utah, win against Vegas, lost against Vegas, and so on and so forth. So they haven't had that many wins, actually, in this brand new year. They've had, well, technically the Blackhawks game was on the 31st, so I'm not going to count that as January. So they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. Yeah. Not good. It's not good when your hockey team's only been able to accumulate 6 wins since the beginning of the year. So almost a month and a half. That's why against Chicago, I do get a little bit nervous, just because let's go take a look at Chicago, actually. I want to do that more in this podcast, where we do talk about some of the other teams in more detail, because sometimes it gets a little bit boring. They do have those Nashville Predators tonight, and again, 2 not so good hockey teams. I'm talking like the Blues are a good hockey team, but they're not. But let's take a look at how our enemies in Chicago were doing. We don't like the Blackhawks. All right, so yeah, they kind of look like we do. I don't mean that like in a bad way, but like, it's nothing too great. Right now they're in a 3-game losing streak. They lost the Canes, the Panthers, and the Oilers. It's funny, both us and the Blackhawks did have a close game with Edmonton, and they had a close game against the Canes. They did beat the Lightning 4-1. And then before that 4-1 victory over Tampa, they had 3 losses in a row. Wild, Lightning, Canes. They beat Vegas, which is crazy, right? Yeah, so they've had since this year 1, 2, 3, 4 wins. So we've had 6 wins since the beginning of the year, and they've had 4. So yeah, you kind of can see where we're both coming at. I don't think Chicago is necessarily this bad team. I just think it's a very strange team, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think that for Chicago, they have really talented players. I just think for maybe development-wise, some of the younger guys, it just needs a little bit more time for some of them. But I want to talk to you about a couple of players that make me a little bit nervous with Chicago. Obviously, Connor Bedard, you cannot ignore Betsy. I mean, he's a great player. Obviously, we know Tyler Bertuzzi, Pat Maroon. You know what's funny? There's some guys on the team, and I'm just like Alec Martinez played great with the VGK. I don't know if he's standing out to me that much here. Seth Jones is a good player. TJ Brody, I forgot about TJ Brody. Craig Smith. But yeah, they don't have like a super stacked kind of core. They don't. It's really just Connor Bedard. And that's why the NHL, whenever you hear about the Chicago Blackhawks, they really do kind of just circulate around him. I mean, there's been so many trades that have been happening lately. And again, the trade deadline, we're 1 month out from it officially. It is February 7th, March 7th trade deadline. So I'm expecting more chaos. I really hope the Blues end up selling players, so that way they just don't get stuck with older players. I'm so sick of it. Like, maybe someone just needs to tell Doug Armstrong, hey, let's not sign players that are 30 and above, and see if that works out, because it is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I have never seen a team besides Edmonton with a bunch of older players really work out. Like, I don't know. Again, like, who am I to say, right? Like, I'm not a GM, but I'm just assuming here. I'm just talking to you one-on-one right now that would make some sense, right? Well, maybe not to you, but to me that makes sense. But whatever. Anyways, let me talk to you really fast about how you need to stay in touch with this channel. I will be heading out to the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if there will be an episode on Monday. If not, I'll do a double episode on one of the days in the week or maybe the weekend. It is my birthday next weekend, so I'm going to do a birthday show. What is that? Well, let me tell you, because you're in for a big surprise. I want to have fun on this channel, and I want to do some theme shows sometimes. Well, we'll be in the Four Nations face-off break, so why not do a birthday wish list? If I were GM for the day, what would I do? And for you, my everydayers, you're going to be gifting me presents, aka gifting me ideas of what I should do if I'm a GM. I'll explain it later, but it's a really cool idea that I kind of came up with. And I'm like, wait, this will be so much fun. So 26, I know. Whoa. But again, Nathan Walker. That's all I think about with Nathan Walker. Okay. Subscribe to Locked On Blues here on YouTube, Twitter, and your Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Subscribe if you're not driving and you're safe. All right, let me do the best segment of the week, the only segment that I will play music for because, baby, it is Are We Feeling Blue? Yeah, you saw that switch up? I went from feeling blue and sad to feeling a little bit edgy, and this is why. I think the St. Louis Blues are going to be in a good situation come 2 seasons from now. I think that right now, I'm actually kind of happy that they're not doing that well. I know. Why would I be like that? Because of the draft. And all I can think about right now is getting a good draft pick. I'm sad and I'm down when they don't win because it does make me sad. I love when the Blues win. But at the end of the day, when I look at the NHL all standings, I have to just take it with a grain of salt because this is going to set up the team to have a good draft pick. I mean, right now they continue to be in that 24 spot. The Flyers lost last night, so that didn't help. But they're so close and they're already a bottom 10 team. So just continue. I'm not saying like continue to lose, but you look at the bottom team and it's San Jose with 37 points, Chicago 38 points, and the Blues have 53. So yeah, compared to like the bottom teams, I don't think they're going to get within the top 3 because Nashville only has 43. But I mean, the Sabres have 49. So like the Blues are close enough to where they need to be. I don't think it's a good idea for the Blues to try to win games. I know that sounds bad, and I get it. But I like being a bottom 10 team at the moment because it sets them up to have a good draft pick. And I know I asked on Twitter at Locked On Blues how some of you felt about this season, and you agreed with me getting maybe bottom 5. I mean, it's possible. I mean, if you look at the bottom 5, Seattle has 50 points and the Sabres, as I said, have 49. So it is possible. I don't think the Blues are going to buy at the deadline. I think they're going to sell, bring up some of the younger guys from the T-Birds and just rock and roll with it. Yeah, it's like 30-something games left. It might suck, right? It may not be the most entertaining hockey. But at the end of the day, it's about the future and the longevity of this team. And I just know that this season, you're not going to see this team persevere, do well. And quite honestly, why would you want them to go to the playoffs with this roster? Like, no offense, but like, it's not a good situation. If they go to the playoffs with this roster, they're going to end up losing. And not only are they going to end up losing, they're going to get a really bad draft pick. So I think for the fun for the future, thought for the future, just the future thinking me is saying, okay, well, you know what? The Sharks said tank for Bedard. No one judged them, so why not tank for a good draft pick? So that's my 2 cents. As I said, I think they're going to continue to be a bottom 10 team. Let's strive to be a bottom 5 team. All right, I will talk to you next week. I'm going to be heading out to New Orleans, so I don't know if I'll be able to catch the game tomorrow night, but I will be in Central Time finally, so it will be nice to finally be on the same time zone as everybody else here. And like always, let's go Blues.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.